Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Raeann, but you can call me Ray. Today's video is super exciting because ever since I saw pictures of this, I was like, yep, I'm buying it. Like I'm buying it. And I am just a sucker for like colorful palettes. I think everyone knows that by now. If it has bright colors in it, I'm probably buying it. This is the new palette from SUGARPILL. It's called the Capsule Collection. So it's so cute. Look at this packaging. It's so freaking cute. I was gonna say stinking cute, but like I guess that works too. But super cute packaging. I will say I totally thought that this palette was gonna be bigger. Like it's a decent sized palette. It's not, you know, super tiny and not gigantic. Well, I guess I don't know. In comparison to my face, I guess it does look like a big palette. This is the newest palette from SUGARPILL. So it comes in, let's see. So this palette has 5 mattes, 4 metallics, and 1 blush, which I thought was really cool. I'm assuming you could probably use the blush as an eyeshadow too if you wanted to. I might actually do that. It does retail for $42. I got it a little bit cheaper than that. They had some like code going around. I don't know if it was 15 or 20% off if you signed up for either their email or their text message. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I did that and I did get this for a little bit cheaper. And also this actually hasn't fully released yet, at least as I'm filming this. It hasn't actually released yet. It had like an early release, which I saw on Indie Makeup Spotlight. I saw it there and I decided to buy it the second that I saw it. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm getting it. So I don't think it's been fully released yet. I did check their website just before I started filming this, and even on Trendmood, it doesn't sound like it's actually launched yet because their website didn't have it. And then also Trendmood said that it's coming soon, so I don't know when it's launching. I feel like probably next week. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure it'll be soon. Anyways, let's just show you guys what the inside of the palette looks like. So super pretty. Lots of really fun like pastel and also like brighter, more neon colors. I just love this packaging. I think it's really cool. Dean totally said that it reminded him of, I think it was watercolor, like little like paint things. So I totally see that now that I'm looking at it. But again, super pretty. It does come with a little mirror. And I just like the packaging, how it's see-through. I think that's really unique. You don't see that too often. I'm trying to think of, I mean, this is like fully like transparent almost, other than this part where the mirror is. So when you turn it around, you can see all of the shadow names, which is also really cool. I do kind of prefer when shadow names are right where the shadows are, just because, you know, I'm kind of lazy and turning it around and like reading it is just kind of like, but this one's cool because it's directly over the shadow. So yeah, I don't know. So that's just something to know. And this bigger one, this one is, I'm assuming that this one is the blush. So that is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and get into the swatches. So let's see. The first shade is Slow Dive. It's going to be a matte blue color. This shade, I'm not gonna lie, reminds me of that, is it the chalk thing? What is it called? The like when you're playing pool and you like dip the stick in the thingy-majigger? Oh my god, I'm so bad. Apparently, obviously I am not a professional pool player, but it's that chalk thing. That's what it reminds me of. Okay, so that's yeah, it didn't swatch out the greatest, but I know I say this a million times. I'm not super concerned about it because it is matte color. So anyways, the next shade is Cloud 9. So yeah, it's gonna have to keep going back and forth with this, kind of swatching it, turning the palette over so I can see what the shade name is. That swatched out really nicely. The next shade is Dream State. Ooh, this one's really pretty. It has a shift to it that I wasn't expecting. So it's kind of like a rosy color with like a little bit of a different shift. This next one is Supernova. Oh wait, no, it's not Supernova, is it? No, Melody. Sorry, it's Melody, which this is the blush shade. I don't know if I'm going to use it as a blush. I'll be completely honest with you. but I might just try it for kicks and giggles. Alright, so this is Undone. Well, that one swatched out not too bad actually. The next shade is Baby Doll. So it didn't swatch out too badly either for being a matte. It is a pretty light color though, but it is super pretty. The next shade is Ember. Ooh, I love that shade. And I totally need to get my nails done. Even looking at this right now is making me sad because I need to get my nails done. That actually didn't swatch out as vibrant as I thought it would have. The next shade is Supernova. This one also looks like it has like a little shift to it, so it's like a lighter purple. Ooh, that looks really pretty actually, now that everything is like kind of adjusting on the camera and there's more contrast on there. All of these shades, I mean, all of them look really pretty, but this one looks really nice. So it's like a lilac-y shade, and it definitely has some like extra like sparkles in there of different colors. Interesting in this palette too that the matte shades are smaller pans than the shimmer shades. And then the next shade is Radiate. Ooh, I really want to use this one right now. I'm just gonna try to even that out a little bit. That actually didn't swatch out too bad either, honestly. And then the last shade in the palette is Glory. I totally swatched that super far away from this one. I don't know why, but I totally thought that there was something here. And then I remember that this was the last one that I swatched. So yeah, that's looks funny, but whatever. Yeah, that doesn't swatch out the greatest. Let me try to dip back into it and just build it up just a tiny bit more. There we go, that's a little bit better. Alright, so this is what we have so far. That's so funny. I totally thought there was a shade right here. I wonder if that's like, I don't know, I totally thought there was a swatch right there. So don't mind that awkward like giant space in between the two, but overall this swatched out really nicely. All of these shades look super pretty. I'm so excited to use them. I just love colorful palettes. Like, I'm literally a sucker for them. Some of the mattes swatched out kind of meh, like the darker ones, but the lighter ones actually swatched out really nicely. So yeah, I'm excited to work with this. I'm gonna go ahead and start a look, and then I will be back and show you guys what I have so far. Okay, so I'm back. This is what we have going on right now. I need to figure out something else to say other than that. Anyways, so we're doing kind of a faux cut crease action. I don't know, I kind of like it. Like, I kind of like it, kind of love it. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I am a little lazy, we all know this, you know, no surprise. So I'm just going to point at the shades that I'm using. I'm not going to say the name. Actually, you know what, I totally can because I'll be looking at the back of it. Never mind, I'll tell you guys the shade names. So I'm going to start with Undone. So it's going to be this purple shade right here. I totally started this look a couple times. I do feel like this shade is a tiny bit patchy and it was sticking into some areas, so it was making it kind of hard to blend out. I do think I was able to work with it, so it's not, you know, anything super concerning, but it did feel like it was demanding a little more attention. So, and when I said that I started this look a couple times, I ended up also changing my brushes and stuff too to kind of see what was gonna work better. Okay, so I already started blending it out. I totally forgot that I wanted to show you guys what I was gonna do. So after I built it up to the amount of like intensity that I wanted, I ended up taking what was then a clean fluffy brush and kind of started to buff out the outer portion. And then from there, I'm gonna go into another color. I haven't started going into that yet, so that's good that I didn't leave that part out. So yeah, like I don't know, I don't know if you guys can see it. It just does feel like it's kind of sticking to certain areas and it's a little harder to blend out. I'm not super concerned about it, especially for this look. Like, you I end up covering those areas anyways, but I'm wondering if it's something that I can change with, because I already tried a couple different brushes. The brush that I used ended up seeming to be the best one so far, but I'm wondering if like base, like what I'm using to prime my eyes, if I change that, if that would change anything. But yeah, anyways, we're gonna go into the shade Glory, this shade right here. Now I was thinking of going into this one, but I decided just to go with this shade here. I was gonna use both, but I decided just to use the one. So I just take that and then kind of on the outer portion really try to blend everything out and have a nice transition between the two and really try to blend out that shade. What I was noticing is I felt like I was losing the other shade that I just used. So I do have to go back in and kind of just add a little bit more to that shade that we started with, just to kind of build it up for a little bit more of a contrast, which is something that happens kind of often when I do looks like this, so not super concerning, but it did seem like it was disappearing a little bit more than usual. Okay, so I think that looks pretty decent. I'm gonna go back into the first shade we started with, which is Undone, and just kind of add a little bit more depth in here that we kind of lost a little bit. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good so far. I'm going to take a little bit of that brush and kind of blend this out. I actually want to add a little bit more of that purple shade to kind of deepen it up a little bit up higher like this. Okay, so from here I end up taking a flatter like concealer style brush. This is pretty similar to other looks that I've done, so just a flatter brush. I need new brushes so badly. That's kind of embarrassing to show that, but I just really need new brushes. And what that is just the glue like coming in it, and then there's like chipping and stuff. Okay, yeah, I just need new brushes. So I'm going to take a little bit of glitter glue, and especially because I'm doing a look like this that's trying to kind of emulate a cut crease, I definitely want to use a glitter glue to do this. So I'm just going to do it in a similar area that I would normally do a cut crease. And since you can kind of see the glitter glue before it dries down completely, it's good to just try to maintain a good shape if you can. Once you lay on the glitter glue, it can be a little hard to and a little unforgiving, because if you get it in the wrong spot, the shadow might cling to that area a little bit more than you want it to, so you want to be a little careful when it comes to this. But yeah, just trying to keep a shape of what I would use, a similar shape that I would use for a cut crease. And from there, you don't really need it to dry or anything because it already starts off really tacky. So I'm gonna go into the blue shade Cloud 9. So this shade right here. Now I know, I guess you can call it a phrase, that Cloud 9 probably represents a lot of things for a lot of people, but I am a nerd and I think of the League of Legends like pro team Cloud 9. Yeah, I'm a nerd, okay. Anyways, that's one of the things I think of when I think of Cloud 9. And also I think of this ice cream place that has like the ice cream burgers. I think that's what they're called, ice cream burgers, with like the bread and the ice cream inside. I realize that a lot of things that remind me of certain things, like a lot of words that remind me of things or phrases, always end up reminding me of food. Whatever it happens. So I'm going to take that shade and I'm going to use the same brush that I just used for the primer. And we're just going to go over the same area that we just used the primer. That way we can do this kind of faux cut crease look. And I actually found that this shade was pretty pigmented. It looks really, really pretty. I am obviously using a glitter primer, so I'm sure that helps. But for being a finger applier, I felt like doing this with my brush was actually still really easy. And I was still able to get the pigment that I wanted. actually coming out a little bit better than the other side. And what I like to do with these looks sometimes is, since this is like a more like a flatter brush, it's got kind of like a thinner tip to it, to kind of, when you're applying the shadow, you can kind of like just point it exactly where you want it to go and kind of help give more of an edge. That way it's a little more precise too. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna keep taking this further down the lid. Now with this look, I was totally thinking of adding more colors to it. Blending it into another shade, like maybe the green shade, maybe even starting with the green shade and then going into the blue shade. But I really love this combo of the blue, purple, and pink. And I am gonna do a 3 looks, 1 palette with this palette too. So I definitely want to do like a pink and green, like watermelon-y kind of look. And I don't know, I am rambling on. My thought process sometimes, I'm sure, doesn't make sense to a good majority of people. I am getting a little bit of fallout with this blue shade. I didn't really notice any fallout with other shades. We've been battling being sick for a while, and this is probably the most not sick that I've been in literally weeks. So yeah. I just get so into doing my looks that I just like don't pay attention to like everything, and that's what happens. Yeah, I am actually getting a lot of fallout with this shade. I feel like it's more than what I had the last time. I'm also dipping into that darker purple shade. I don't remember if I actually told you guys that. Okay, so I feel like this is looking pretty good. For the underneath part, actually let me kind of dust off what is on my face right now. Okay, so from here I'm gonna go into the dusty, like rosy shade that we used earlier. So the shade Glory. Okay, so from here we're gonna go into Undone, so that darker purple shade. I'm gonna get that a little bit closer to the waterline, and we're not bringing that all the way under the eye either. Okay, so from here we're gonna go into the inner corner highlight, and I was really battling either doing that green shade or this iridescent shade, and I went with the iridescent shade, but it was a close battle. So, you know, but recently I've just been loving these iridescent shades for the inner corner and like under like your brow bone. So this shade is Supernova. I'm gonna drag it down a little bit and drag it up a little bit, kind of marrying it into this look. I definitely say that a lot. And then under the brow bone, I need to get my brows done or do them myself, but this, okay, hold on, real talk. Whenever you pluck your own eyebrows, if you do that, when you get into this area here, like right in here, do you sneeze? I literally sneeze every single time. I don't sneeze like when I get my eyebrows threaded, but like when I pluck them and I do them in this area here, like right in here, I sneeze. Without fail. Every single time. Anyways. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup. And also, let's see, probably put some sort of waterline, eyeliner, thingamajigger, whatever. Probably gonna use this one. We'll probably use this one. That or maybe the blue one. Yeah, I'll probably use this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my makeup, and I'll show you guys what everything looks like, and we'll talk about the palette just a little bit. Okay, so this is the finished look. Alright, so far I actually really love this look. Like, I just, sorry, I'm totally gonna look at it again, but so far, yeah, I actually really like this look. I think it's really pretty. It's been a while since I've used this color combination, at least I think it has. Don't hold me to it, but I think it has. So yeah, I'm really liking this color combination. Let's just talk about the palette really fast. So this is just going to be a first impression, kind of like what I'm thinking so far. So far I'm really liking the shimmer shades. I didn't have any problems with those. I only used 2 of them, but I felt like they worked really good. That iridescent kind of shade that I used for the inner corner, super pretty. Kind of reminds me kind of like opal-y a little bit, which is really pretty. But I love the like iridescent shades that brands are coming out with. I know it's not a new thing by any means, but super pretty nonetheless. Like, I love using it for inner corner and brow bone. I actually even put a little bit on here too, just because why not? But yeah, the shimmer shades so far have been good. Like I said, I only used 2, but I have no complaints for those. I did use a glitter glue for the blue one, but again, I felt like it was beautiful. Like, I didn't even need to use my finger or anything, and sometimes even with glitter glue with some shades I have to use my fingers just because I feel like it applies better. I felt like it just was like super smooth, like butter, like literally like just like perfect, you know, like it couldn't have been really any better, honestly. I did feel like there was some fallout with that shade specifically. I didn't really notice any fallout with any of the other shades, the matte shades. If there was, it was really small. I probably didn't even notice it. Like, I think maybe with the purple shade I had a little bit of fallout, so that's pretty good, you know. I mean, fallout doesn't usually bother me, but it's good to know. I did get a lot of fallout with that blue shade, but I mean, you know, it really doesn't bother me. It's just something to kind of note. I'd be curious to see if the other shimmer shades kind of give you that same effect, like if that green one, if that one does it too. But it's just something to keep in mind. I usually do a very light base makeup when I do videos like this and do the rest afterwards, so that way I have some time to kind of get any fallout off of my face, so I don't really worry about that too much. I felt like everything was really pretty pigmented, that it kind of was true to how it looked in the pan. I did feel like the shade that, let's see, I did feel like Glory was a little bit different than what I was expecting, but I think it's just because it was mixed in with the purple shade a little bit, so I don't know if that's why. It just didn't, it seemed a little more like bubblegummy, I guess, than like a blush, like rosy color, but it still turned out to be a really pretty color. I do think that it showed more of the color when I did it underneath, so I'm thinking it was just because when it was kind of blending into the other like purple shade, that's what it was bringing out of it. For the purple shade, what shade is it? For Undone, I did feel like it was a little patchy, it was a little kind of hard to work with a little bit. I felt like with the look that I did, everything ended up turning out just fine, but it is something to note, and it could be something to try on my end of like trying a different primer or trying different brushes. I did use a couple different brushes and I tried the look a couple times and I was still getting some patchiness where it was kind of clinging to certain areas of my eyelid. That's something to note. I feel like the shade was still something that I could work with, but I did have some issues with it. So far, honestly, so far I think that this palette is pretty good. I'm really excited to keep working with it. I'm excited to see how the other shades perform, if the mattes are going to be similar to that purple shade, if they're going to give me any difficulties. I feel like I shouldn't have too much problem because I feel like the blue and the purple were the only ones that were super patchy when I was swatching them out. So I think if I had any similar issues, it'd be with that blue, like the darker blue shade. So I feel like, I'm just guessing that the lighter matte shades won't really give me that issue, but I'm super excited to keep using it. I actually am going to do a 3 looks 1 palette with this palette, and I will be filming it today. So, or at least getting a start on it today. So I'm excited to keep working with it. I feel really inspired by the color story, which is always really nice. So far, so good, honestly. Like, that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. If you guys liked this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We'll see you next time.